Hi everyone, hope you're fine. After this very quick unboxing with my friend DJ Binge, we are looking at the 70, the brand new 2 channels mixer from Rane. For the connections, on the front you have all your mic section with the echo here, the mic 2 section here. You have the settings of your faders and crossfader. You have the curve for each one, the tension for the crossfader. To move less or more with your finger. You have the hamster. Why we are calling reverse? It was so fun when we call it hamster switch. So the hamster switch, the split cue for your headphone, and 2 headphone output. And on the back, let's put the beauty like that. You have the power supply here, the mic inputs here. You can put level. Like always with Rane, it's pretty cool, so you can have a stereo input here. You have the ground, phono ground here to connect your turntable, the little ground screw. You have the 2 input with phono CD, phono line, and aux. That is pretty cool in this mixer and the 72 Mark II, is that you can have the DVS on the aux input. It's not all mixers. Mine, the MP 2014 doesn't have this, and it's pretty cool because you can have your phono input here with your turntable and phase, for example, here on the aux. So it's pretty cool. Session in and out, we will see after the volume control. You have 2 USB ports here, allow you to have you can save your USB input on your computer and put directly here. You can put your 12 here. You can put a phone if you want to charge your phone, it's not a problem. You have your both secondary output. You have your main master output here. USB for the 2 computers. Connections are done. Let's go to the browse mode. So you have 2 browse knobs. It's very powerful, very cool, because like I said in the connections, you have 2 USB ports, so you can manage 2 computers with 2 Serato libraries, 2 friends, for example, and you have 2 audio output, 2 jacks outputs. So to browse, and you can easily browse. You have the first one in the green part A and orange here. And you can browse this part, so you can have 2 computers, 2 Serato libraries. So when you are on your computer, you can jump between the playlist and the tracks with the back button. So you choose the playlist you want. After you jump to the track, and you choose the right track. You can have a load prepare section. You know, when you mix CD or vinyl records, when somebody asks you a track, not the good place to put the track, so you can say to this person, no, it's not possible, or you can say it's possible, and you put your record, you see on the side, to play further. So it's the same thing, the prepare section. You have just to push shift load prep, and you can have the prep section, and when you want to put a track, you have just to push load prepare, and you can erase this track like you want, and then shift load to move this section here. So when the track is on the deck, you have just to play your record. So first you have to choose which source you want, so USB, phono line, aux, like a line, and the last one, USB 2. That is really cool. Like I said in the connection, is that you can now, with a little parameter we will see at the end of the video, you can put your DVS on the aux part, which is not the case in all Rane mixer. For example, mine, the MP 2014, I can't put my face, for example, because it's a line signal on the aux. But with this, the 70 and the 72 Mark II, you can easily put your face directly on the aux section, and after put your phono part of your turntable directly on the phono line. So it's pretty cool. So I am on USB because it's a DVS mode timecode directly from Serato. You have your trim control, gain control here. After equalization, your equalization can be with a little parameter. It's pretty cool because you can manage your low and high frequency to not take too much from the mid with a parameter we will see after when we will focus on the parameters of the mixer. So low, mid, high. After you will have your FX. Oh no, I'm going to forget the filter. So you have a filter in each deck. You can have a low pass. And this filter you will see directly on the parameter. You can manage the resonance, and you can manage that it can cut everything or put a little sound directly. It's very cool if you prefer the one or the two solution. After you have a big FX section, you have onboard FX and FX from Serato. Let's put FX here. So the onboard, you have a Rane logo. You can have an echo, reverb, break, flanger, phaser, delay. The echo reverb can be post fader, so when you put down your fader, you can have the feedback directly on after the music. So echo, you can manage the beat. You can have a default beat if you want directly in the parameter, but you can also move the beat with a little bit assigned here. And after, you have just to put the level up. So you can have just on like that with your finger, or you can have a lock here. And so you can manage like that. So echo, reverb. In the parameter, you can say if you want a big reverb or a little one. Break. The break can be a little break or a more longer break. So little like that. Or very big. After flanger. Of course, with like another FX, you can have less beat or more beat. Phaser and delay. What is pretty cool with the delay is that you can put a delay like that, more delay each time after time, but you can also make a little pass for people like me who can't make pass with 2 records. You can easily put this with a delay. Etc. So there are the onboard FX. You can also switch to Serato FX. For example, here I have a clean echo out, delay and version echo. So you have just to push here and you have your FX. And you see I can make 3 FX in the same time. And you can also move the beat. It is the same as the onboard FX. So FX part. After, let's jump to another part of the mixer. You can have your PFL here. You can listen to track 1, track 2, deck 1, deck 2. You can have your two main like PFL master sections, so you can more you're here, more you will listen to the deck you're listening, and more you're here, more you will listen to the master. The volume control, you have the volume control of your sampler here. You have, I make all the volume of the mixer, a boost output, a main like a master. You have a session in and out if you want, and it's done. I think you have two mic sections. The first mic, you can have here the level and the tone with an echo. You saw in the connection that the echo parameter is on the back, on the front of the mixer. You can have also another mic input, but you have the parameter here. We saw it directly on the connections part. And the big part of this new 70 is the crossfader part. So you have 3 Mac 4, so the new crossfader from Rane, directly on board. So you saw in the connections that you have a tension parameter here. You have the fader curve directly on the front of the mixer, the crossfader curve. You can invert hamster switch every crossfader fader, and that is pretty cool. If you have the Rane panel directly on your computer here on your screen, if you manage, let's go to the cut setting. If you manage on the panel here, you will see directly on your screen the same thing, or you can invert. You change here, for example, I push 4, 5, whatever, and you have the same directly on the screen. It's pretty cool. Every kind of parameter, you can put it directly here. You see, you can put filter resonance, the tone crossover. We will see directly on the parameter part on the screen. So let's go for more in-depth functions. So first, the loop section before the deck sections. So the loop section, you have on each deck a loop section. You can have a manual loop like that. You push shift in. You can decrease, increase if you want. You can have a reloop with a shift button, and you can put the loop directly active or inactive. You see, if I push, for example, 16-bit here, I can push it, you see, active and inactive, and you can save it directly on the save loop, for example. And let's see the pad section. So you have 8 pads with a lot of parameter. The only thing I can't do when I test the mixer just before showing to you is that in the same loop you have different parameter on the same button. You see, you have hot cue here, and you have pitch play here, for example. You have transport here, and you have user mode. We will see after. But in save loop, you have another pad section, but maybe it will be okay when it will be a firmware update. So let's listen to hot cue. So the hot cue, you can stop the music or put it directly on the fly like this, and erase directly with the shift button. Hot cues on little point directly on the track. You can record and play it when you want. So I have a lot of hot cue like this. Hot cue can be pitch play. So you push another time here. You choose the hot cue you want. For example, if you maybe touch this, you have pitch play on this hot cue, but if you touch this one, you have pitch play on this one, etc. So pitch play after saved loop. When you have a loop like this, for example, 8-bit loop, I can save it here. So I can call it when I want. You can be directly on another part of the track. You have just to go to save loop, shift, and you can call it directly here. You can put it directly on active loop or not if you want. After roll, it's a little loop, but the music still play underneath, so you are going onto your feet when you release the function. After, I think you will have on the same button the auto loop, so you can choose 16-bit, 8-bit, etc. After sampler, the sampler, it's pretty cool because I will show you the sampler. You can edit where you want the sampler goes. You can directly put the channel 1, for example, the same channel. Okay. You can put channel 2 if you want, but every time make sure your sample level is up. You see, if I put 2 but sample level here, nothing. But if I put some level here, it's cool. I can put it directly on the sampler part or on the master, but the master, you see, you have to have this one or this one up. So I can put on, yeah, on the sampler part. And after, when your sample is assigned to maybe channel 1, channel 2, sampler or master, you can put it directly on the music and sync with this music, for example. Maybe here, I think I have a OQ, yeah, without the little sample. Etc, etc. So you can put every sample you want directly on each sample deck. You have, of course, like always with Serato, 8 samples on each bank, and you can change, you see, A, B, C, D, your bank. Of course, you can put your sample in loop, one shot, when you push the button, when you're just to push and you can release your finger, etc. Like always, it's a sample from sample part of Serato. What can I say? You can use your own sample directly. You can make playlists of sample and directly put it on each sample deck. But you can also take a track with a lot of hot cues. And you see, when you push the parameter button settings, you can choose the sample you want. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, the 5 hot cue 5, I will have this. You see, with the kick. If I put the first hot cue here, you have just the first one. So it's pretty cool. It's Serato, you know. And let's see the transport part. So, transport part has to be on an internal mode. So I choose to switch to internal mode on the top left of my computer here. And I can choose my transport. You have bending here. You see, minus, plus, with master tempo, but I can disengage master tempo, of course. I can move the BPM, but I will not do that. Plus or minus for the BPM. I have master tempo here. I have sync button here, and I can disengage with shift button. I have the cue, the play, so everything I need. And after the last pad section, the we can call it user interface. So every pad can be assigned directly in MIDI mode. So be sure to go to the setting mode of Serato and ask Serato to authorize the modification of the mapping here. And when it's done, you have just to push MIDI here. You push the function you want, for example, sleep mode here, and you push the button you want. After, when it's done, look on the top here, I have quantize. I can push quantize, for example, here. And I think I push here, yeah, sleep mode here. So it's pretty cool. If you don't, if you need some function directly on the mixer, there is no function directly on this, on the button, you can assign directly here. And at the end, let's see the settings directly on the screen of the mixer. You can access directly here, shift tap, you can access all the parameters. Like we saw for the fader crossfader, you can have a different parameter, the same parameter between the panel, the Rane 70 panel directly on your computer and here. So when you change on the computer or on the mixer, you can have the same directly on each one. Settings, it's general setting. Audio, it's not very important. Which is important is the deck one. It's very important because you see, let's see on here, you can have the frequency of the high and low not to have too much deformation on the middle. You see, mid or like that, and here you can have less deformation. You can have also, and it's pretty cool, like I said, you can input your DVS directly on the aux and not on the phono line. It's pretty cool when you use phase, for example. Deck 2 is the same. Filter, it's cool too because you can set the resonance of your filter, but also the end of the filter. You see, now it's full cut, but you see I can have the modification I want, or the in the high. So it's very pretty cool. Filter is done. Pad, you can have a sensibility on each sensitivity on each pad. I test it maybe in 80 percentage, like that. Here 80. It's pretty cool because you can, if you touch, but you don't want to touch, but just touch like that the pad, it will not be an action, you know. You have to push directly on the pad, so it's cool. You can have day mode, etc. Headphone is just the tone, but if you have headphone with a low frequency, you can disengage a low frequency, for example. Mic 1 parameter settings, you can change the feedback of the echo, the talk over force, if the control over cut, the duck hold. You see when the talk over, when you push longer, it will push here like that for the talk over. You can have 0.5 seconds, or you can have 2 seconds. You have to push more longer. And I think it's the last one. The Aston double is here, the 2 buttons. It's pretty cool because you can have a normal mode, so instant double, but you can also put sync mode if you want. Sync mode is, if you remember, directly on the transport, but if you don't have time to go directly to transport, you can easily push sync mode here, or at the end, silent cue. Silent cue, like you saw in another unit, MIDI unit, a little controller. Silent Q is pretty cool because you can push the button, have the music cut, but if you made an FX, for example, an echo, the echo still have its feedback. And when you touch directly out cue, you jump directly on the out cue and you have all the sound 100%. So it's pretty cool. If you want silent Q here, you can put it directly here. And I think it's done for the settings here. Yeah, default settings. Cutting adjust we saw for faders, crossfaders. Flex FX is the default settings for each FX. You can, for example, put a frequency, a low cut frequency for the echo. So it's pretty cool. You don't have an echo with lot of low frequency. The length of the feedback and the default beat. You can have a 2-beat or 3/4 beat or 1 beat, etc. And it's the same for each FX. You have a lot of parameter for each FX. Software FX is a little parameter for the FX on Serato. And I think it's done. Factory reset, version of the firmware. And let me introduce a second time for a little, it's not a big demo part, but it's just for fun to allow you to watch the crossfader, the Mac 4, for example, or something like that. Let me introduce a second time DJ Binge for this little fun part, scratch part.
Bitch, I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money. Problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money.
And it's done for this video about the Rane 70. Thank you for watching this one. If you have any questions about this product, feel free to ask under the video or by mail if you want, leo@djstuff.fr. Thank you for watching this one and see you next content. Bye bye, take care everyone.
Ciao.